Halloween night, 2018, the streets of Hammond, Indiana, right outside Chicago. You got that cold air, that eerie silence, and a car full of young hitters thinking tonight gonna be a come up. But sometimes, when you move for the fast money, you don't realize death riding right next to you. This the story of DISE, a female from that OBN side, Oak Boys Nation, them black disciples out that south side. Shorty had the look, the talk, and the street smarts. She wasn't no dummy, but the streets got a way of turning your hustle into a downfall. This right here is how one bad move turned a young woman's life into a nightmare. See, OBN not just a block, it's a way of life for them Oak Boys. They got roots in the low end, branches out through the south suburbs. And DISE grew up right in the middle of that pressure, poverty, loyalty, and pain. By her early teens, she was moving with some steppers, making a little noise. She wasn't no shooter, but she was solid. The type to line the move up, play her part, and stay low. People knew her as one of them females you couldn't play with. Cute face, dangerous energy. But what the streets don't tell you is, when you're around them demons too long, you start acting like one. DISE was trying to prove she could hang, and that's how she ended up plotting a lick that would change everything. Y'all know how these moves start. A tip, a target, a rumor about cash. DISE heard there was a bag in Hammond. Someone said a dude had money, maybe weed, maybe both. The plan sounds simple. Crash the spot, scare him, grab the cash, get out, in and out like nothing happened. DISE helps line the move up. She picks the night. Halloween. Less attention. More chaos. Perfect cover, she thought. 2 men ride with her. One of them later got sentenced to a long time, 25 years, for what happened that night. That ain't a small detail. It's the weight of the decision. They roll up. Plans basic. Nah, let Phil do the rest. But plans on paper don't survive real life. People panic. Phones drop. Heart rate spike. When money on the line, ego shows itself. Somebody pulled the strap. Somebody pulled the trigger. Shots ring out. A man is bleeding on the floor of a Hammond apartment. It go from plan to tragedy in the blink. Who fired? Why? Conflicting stories swirl. But fact, somebody dead. Lives changed. Families crushed. Streets shook. The investigation moved slow, then fast. Detective pieced the route, traced the car, pulled cell records. People gave statements. People kept quiet. But the evidence had its own language. It don't lie forever. Paradise. She was in the middle of that storm. She'd helped organize the hit. She was tied to the circle. That connection put a target on her. When detectives knocked, the pressure mounted. Police pulled tapes, phone records, phones. The case started to center on names from Chicago, OBN ties, overlapping circles. Arrests followed. Men were charged, evidence stacked, and then the move everyone in the city watched for. Someone flipped. Paradise eventually admitted she'd planned the robbery, not because she wanted to confess, but because the case and the state cornered the truth in front of her. She took a deal, cooperated. That decision split the street in two. Someone called it survival. Others called it snitching. For some, cooperating is the only way off the board. And for DISE, that's what it was. Court filings showed the fallout. One of the male accomplices got 25 years behind the killing from that night. That sentence didn't land in a vacuum. It landed because evidence, testimony, and deals moved through the system. Paradise's role. She worked with prosecutors. Her cooperation carried weight in bringing charges and convictions. That cooperation, recorded in pleas and filings, shifted the balance. But even if the law gives you a break, the street don't always forgive. Cooperate might save your body from prison walls for a while, but it can expose you to a lifetime of labels and even death. After the plea, Paradise's life changed. Papers called her name, The block had her number. Sometimes cooperation comes with a price beyond the law, a price measured in isolation, in threats, and being boxed out by the people you once trusted. She served time. Reports and follow-up show she took a deal in exchange for her testimony and time served. A reality many who cooperate face. The state gives a number, the streets take the rest. Years later, names fade, but consequences stay. The man who died left family. The man who got 25 years has to live with the result. Paradise. She still carries what happened. That's the long part of these stories. Ain't no clean ending. On the block it's simple. Loyalty is the coin. Snitching, that's a felony in the streets. People react like you broke an unspoken vow. But folks outside that code see something else. Survival. A woman stuck between prison time and the potential of being murdered for cooperating. What would you do? These stories don't have easy moral answers. They got heartbreak, fear, and a system that pushes people to make impossible choices. Paradise's story ain't unique. Women have always been in the mix. Planners, scouts, couriers, CEOs of hustle. The street uses their roles, and when the plan goes bad, women sometimes pay the steepest price. Blame more, protected less. Why are women so often put in positions where the worst outcome is the only real option? Why is cooperation stigmatized if that cooperation could save lives? Look deeper, and you find a system full of cracks, poverty, lack of opportunity, and the hyper-masculine code that leaves women small room to maneuver. What we can learn. The story of DISE ain't just one girl's tragedy. It's a mirror. It reflects a place where the options are limited, where fast money looks like freedom, and where loyalty can be a chain. Paradise Haynes made a decision to snitch. It landed her in the court. It landed a man in the grave. It landed another man in the cell for 25 years. If you haven't guessed by now, that man is JustBlow from 600. If you listen, the lesson rings plain. Invest in opportunity. Stop romanticizing licks. Teach the youngest to move smarter than the streets teach them to move. And to the people watching from the block, understand this. Survival ain't always moral. Sometimes it's math. Sometimes it's pain. But the cycle breaks when we give people options to choose other than the move that ends with sirens. So wherever you at, on the block, at home, in court, or in a pew, know this. The story of DISE should remind you that lives are not headlines, they're human. And until the streets stop being the only classroom, we gonna keep reading the same lesson over and over. That's the truth.